I'm not going with you. I won't fit. You have to go by yourself.
I can't because I'm not so good with directions.
Well, that's too bad. A deal's a deal. You wanted to find your parents? That's how you get to them.
Well, Grandma, what did you think of Finding Dory, which is a sequel to Finding Nemo from years ago? And it continues the story of the absent-minded little fish called Dory and her friends Marlin and Nemo, the clownfish.
She has short-term memory loss.
Well, yeah, okay. So she...
A little more than absent-minded.
Well, okay, it's sort of the same thing.
Yes.
But she remembers that she had a family, and she goes out to try and find her family. And Marlin and Nemo go along for the ride, you might say, to help her because of her memory problem. And they get into all sorts of adventures. What did you think?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. The artists, the animation is fabulous. If you saw Finding Nemo, you know you have this beautiful under the ocean scenery that has been faithfully reproduced. The wonderful coral reefs where these fish live. I particularly liked the friends that Dory made, asking for help finding her family. She lost her mom and her dad somewhere. Help. I need help. She was wonderful.
Well, being a Disney movie, again, I
Yes.
don't know that it is going to spoil things too much for people to say that she probably finds her family.
You mean tell them the ending?
Yes, I mean,
Probably all
it's
right.
a Disney movie and it's
probably
made
all
for
right.
kids. And
True.
okay. But
I loved her octopus friend. She said since he had lost an arm, he was only a septimus, only 7 arms. She remembers some things and then she doesn't remember. The contrast is interesting. And then, of course, she has her clownfish friends, and she makes friends with other underwater creatures. I thought the story was very, very well written. Of course, Ellen DeGeneres does a great job as the voice of Dory. And the kinds of things that they go through in this journey, trying to find first, where Dory was from, and then trying to get there, and the Marine Institute on the coast of California, the way that they keep themselves alive, going from place to place with just enough water, and they marshal the efforts of these other creatures, these other animals to help them. It was delightful, I thought. What did you think?
well, let me start out by saying what it is not.
Okay, we're going to start with the negative.
Well,
What it is not.
it is not terribly funny. I mean, the most of the humor is very much geared towards kids, and which is fine. I mean, it's whimsical and cute and all that sort of thing. But again, for adults, I don't know that they're going to find it all that funny. It's also not terribly original. It's very much, if anything, it's really a continuation of the first movie. It's not a story, I would say, that much all by itself. Again, it does not have some of the sort of the parts to Finding Nemo where it sort of tugged at your heartstrings and you really you know, got into the characters and such. I mean,
And they're journeying up clear across the ocean.
yes, I mean,
You know,
this
that was-
one, this one, the journey across the ocean took place in about a minute.
That's right. They were there.
So again, it was much more. Once they got there, the adventures around the marine life park and such that
It
they
was the
dealt with
turtles, when the sea turtles. They hitched a ride on the sea turtles.
on this current
and they
across
crossed
the Pacific.
Across
yeah.
the Pacific.
So that was
in-
not the
in a
adventure.
flash.
That was not the adventure. The adventure was again them
Once
in
they
the
got there.
park and getting
Yeah.
around from different places. So again, I didn't think that the story was particularly all that interesting. Again, it was mostly for laughs and the humor of the fishes going around and doing different things and such, which is fine. I mean, that was all right. But again, it's not terribly interesting or original or funny. Now, what it was a lot of familiar characters and new characters that you really liked and you really wanted to spend some time with, and that you enjoyed the time with them. I mean, again, one of the things again that I enjoyed most about it was again seeing a lot of these characters again from the first movie. Again, you really
Yes.
liked the characters in the first movie. You sort of wondered, what happened to them. Yeah, I mean, and what would, what sort of adventures they could get into again. And again, that was interesting, and that was what, if anything, that's really what pulled you along through this movie was, again, the characters themselves, again, the older characters that you've seen before, and again, some of the new characters that were interesting. Especially the whole part with Dory and her memory, or short-term memory. Especially at the beginning, you really felt sorry for her and what
she was facing.
yeah, and again the problems that she was having, and they came back to that later in the movie, but not to any great effect. I didn't think they went sort of brought you back to the beginning and talked about her short-term memory and such, but it just didn't really, give it any sort of push or, impact. But again, still, again, I think the film was fun. It was cute. It was interesting, but it wasn't. It could have been better. It was a missed opportunity with such good characters, such characters that people going into the theater already have sort of a vested interest in, and wanting to see them succeed and see how they do and stuff like that. They could have used that to better effect.
Yeah.
So, Grandma, what would your final report card on
Oh yes, I
Finding
recommend
Dory
it.
be?
I think everyone should go and see it. I understand your reservations about it, that it's not as perfect as it could be, but it was fun to watch, and there were some interesting characters. The family feel
Mhm.
is there. Dory was looking for her family. Well, she succeeds. She finds her parents, but she also creates a family with her friends. They're all part of her family, and she realizes that at the end.
Mhm.
Okay.
That they're important too.
They're important. These people, these friends that I have made that have helped me so much, they're my family also, not just mom and dad. It was very enjoyable. I recommend it, yes.
Look, how many thumbs are you giving it, Grandma?
I give it 2 thumbs.